Hey, my name's Koban, and today we're going to be going over the Blender version of Bonanus over there. And in the bottom left, it's just for your entertainment, a VTuber version of her using the Unity version. Alright, let's get to it. First off, we're going to start with the shadows. So to control the global shadows for her, you grab this big arrow here, and you can go ahead and move the Z axis on the rotation. So just click and drag, and there you have it. That's all of her shadows. If you want further control, say you don't really like this particular look when the shadow is in that direction, you can grab this box here and move it to the left or to the right and get the exact kind of shadow that you want. This also works when you grab her rig and you go ahead and let's rotate the head. It automatically configures the shadow according to the global controller. So let me just do a quick reset. That's all for the lighting, so let's go ahead and turn off the lights. Onto the rig. So for the most part, if you've done any sort of posing of any character models before, you can kind of recognize or understand quite a few of these things. But let's go ahead and dive into some of the specialty controllers that I added. Let's make it a little easier to see. So right here, these yellow ones are all of the master controllers for the hair. So you can hit R to rotate them, and you get, as you would expect, the hair to rotate on a curve that's understandable for hair. There's also smaller controllers located throughout to control the individual hair curves themselves. As for why these are stationary, for some reason Blender doesn't like to track them to the tip of the hair, or it literally bugs the hair out like crazy. So if you want to move them, you just click them and unlock all of the location stuff and move them wherever you want. They'll still function perfectly no matter where you want to move them. Reset that. The same goes for these red ones. These red ones control the wings. This is the master wing controller bone, and it's got some subsidiary controllers in here, or secondary. All of these red-like bones are the bones that control the wings themselves. So you've got quite a degree of freedom in here. But let's say that freedom isn't enough. Let's say you get her up like this, and let's do about there. Well, let's say you don't really want, say, this over here. This little uh, angle going on over here. Let's turn on the wing controllers and put it into this view so it's easier to see. We'll grab these little circles here are the wing controllers, and we'll grab this one and move it out a little more like that. And that would be how you get a little more control in there. To get even further control, we have the wing tweaks over here. Let me turn off the controllers up here. And the wing tweaks are these little circles, and they give you squash and stretch in between the individual bones. So you can scale, expand, move, rotate, whatever it takes to get the bone into position that you're comfortable with. I'll reset that. Turn off these controllers. The tail also has them inside of the cloth part. There's especially like a lot of them. So I think you'll have enough control to get whatever pose you want. This is the master tail controller. So you just kind of rotate this or G. It's also locked to its own position. You can change that as well. Like with the hair controllers, it will still function. And all of these black bones here are the ones that control this entire back segment here connected to the tail. The master control bone for the back of the hair are these big ones here, and they do the same thing you would expect from the front, just, you know, a little more wild. So, let's see, what else? In the hand over here, we've got the finger bones here. So in order to clench a fist, you want to grab all of these finger joints right here. And you're going to want to hit S to scale them down. Now, if this doesn't occur the way you see right now, that's because up here next to shading, there you have your thing set to your transform pivot set to another option other than individual origins. So if you go to medium point and you try to scale them down, that's what's going to happen. So every time you want to modify anything that has to do with the fingers, if you're going to do more than one at a time, you're going to want to change it over to individual origins and then scale them down. And from here, we can hit R, Y, Y, or sorry, R, X, X, and this allows you to fully clench the fist, or however much clenching she can actually do with pointy fingers. For the rest of the hand, there's this tiny, tiny little bone right here. Now, what that does is when you hit R to rotate on it, it moves the finger in a way that, or the thumb, in a way that makes sense for, human anatomy. So you can actually get it to whatever position you want. Let's say probably around there. And then same with the fingers, you'll grab the bigger bone up here and then just scale it in, and you can get whatever you want out of that. Now, if we want to rotate the wrist, we just grab these big box bones here, and we hit R, Y, Y. Yeah, now is the time for R, Y, Y. And this allows you to transform her wrist in a way that is, understandably more anatomically correct. All right. We've got all sorts of bones going on in here, everything that lets you control every aspect of her body, including the hips here. Do a little bit of hip sway. Let's see. Everything else, if you've done any rigging at all, you would probably be able to infer most of it, aside from the controller up here. So this is the controller that controls quite a lot of your object IKs, the things that track, the objects that track to all of the IK bones, and all of your Genshin shape keys. So this is a one-stop shop for pretty much everything that you'd want out of a Genshin rig. So you can scale the eyes down, you can move these around. We've got all three of the different types of eye closing stuff. The general stuff that you would expect. And then there's also her blush that you can turn on and off at will from here. Now, these are special. So this tail track, wings track, bangle, and vision are basically the vision here, the entire tailbone rig here. I call this a bangle. We'll call it whatever you want. And the wings themselves. If you were to turn these off, they would no longer track to the body, and they would just be their own thing. So right now, if I grab the central bone and move her around, they track to the body. You'll be able to move around these bones freely without any sort of constraints to the body with those turned off. So right now, the wings are still constrained to the body no matter where I move them, and that's what those controllers are for. As for the mask, at the start, I have it set to track to no tracking. So the no tracking means that it won't track to anything. It's its own thing. So no matter where you move the hand or the body or anything, the hand will not have the mask tracking it, neither will the face. To change that, all you have to do is, first let's pose the hand in a way that makes it easier to see. Right there will do. Well, go ahead and grab this. Go into pose mode. And let's change this. So we want to turn this off. These three things that have to do with the mask, you really want to make sure that only one of them is active at a time. In other words, basically what will happen is you can't really predict the behavior if they're all on. So if we turn off the mask no tracking and turn on the hand tracking, I'm back. Sorry about that. Trying to do all this in one take is a little difficult, so please forgive any jump cuts that might end up happening. Anyways, back to it. So when you have the mask tracking active to the hand, of course, is what you expect. It's going to track to the hand. You will be completely unable to move the mask bone from here at this point. And that's for the mask tracking to the hand. And it's exactly what you would expect from the face. So let's turn this off and turn the face on. Now it's tracking directly to the head. And no matter how you move the head or in any way, shape, or form, it's going to keep tracking to it. There's a bit of an exception here. This little bone here in front of the face also allows you to move it. Now, just like the rest of the constraints on the body, where you move this, the face will move too. It's just an additional control for people who say, okay, I don't like how close the mask is, or how far the mask is. It's for all you guys that really want to get into the nitty-gritty details of it. Outside of all of that, all of her Genshin shape keys will be on that one initial controller. So you shouldn't have any problems finding them there. If you want the AR kit shape keys, you'll find them on the face itself. So let me turn off the rig here so it's a little easier to see. So in order to get to the 52 AR kit shape keys, we want to scroll past all of this purple stuff at the right-hand side. And up here at the top, eye blink left is the first AR kit shape key. If you want to use them manually, they're there for you to use at your convenience. Otherwise, they're mostly for the Unity version, or if you wanted to import any sort of facial mocap data. So that's all of them, all the way down to the tongue out. Blech. One final thing I wanted to cover is where to find the squash and stretch for the arms and the legs. So you have to click on either this box bone or this one, just the general controllers for the endpoints of the hands and the legs. And you go over into tools section, and thanks to the add-ons that will be included, you will have all of this available to you. So we've got stretch to IK, we've got auto stretch, arm twist, IK, FK snapping. This is just a button to immediately switch to IK, FK. So what you want for stretch and squash is to turn on this auto stretch all the way, and now the hand will stretch, the entire arm will stretch to wherever you want. And if you want it off, you just turn it off. And the same thing goes with the foot. It's right there. You've got the auto stretch, and there you have it. And with that, I think I've just about covered all the advanced features of her rig. If you would like me to go into detail about all the basic stuff, in case you're not an animator, I can do that too. Just let me know, either in the comments here or up on my Twitter. I read everything that is posted. So, with nothing else left to say, have a good day.